It is very cold in here. Lane!
What's up?
You need to hop down. Okay.
Hopping. Sorry, I'm finishing up a chess game.
Apparently they changed like the emote interface on Twitch, so it's easier to add and update emotes. Maybe we'll see if they gave us a cheeky emote slot or something. I doubt they did.
Be nice.
But I just said we're good whenever, but you're like very clearly in a chess game. Unlucky.
I'm almost done with it. I'm gonna lose. It's fine. Unless this guy's really bad. Possible. Very possible. We're just gonna resign. Alright, here we go. I'm ready.
Just resign like that.
Yep. I had up one pawn and he had a queen and a rook, so we're over.
I think you had it, honestly. It was right there.
I should have had it. I blundered.
Oh. Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen then in week number 1 of the Upsurge Minor League. My name is Meristematic. Casting with me tonight is Liposuction Lane. How are you doing?
Good. Just lost my chess game. A little
Yeah.
sad about that, but outside of that, doing alright.
Yeah, this is really exciting. This is our teams and orgs debut in the Upsurge competitions. Really excited to see how they're going to do. Already off to the races with some of these bands. Pantheon Nautilus taken away by the opponents tonight, OTA Storm. And, well, Nautilus not quite yet taken away, but I'm assuming will be locked away. And then Middlesticks has banned the Gragas and the Twitch.
Yeah, no surprise there. Ikado's very known for his Pantheon, and it's a very strong pick in the meta, so not surprised at all to see that come out. Excited to see what the game brings us tonight.
Yeah, best of 3 series, a little bit late, so apologies, a little bit groggy. Took a nap so that I could stay up late enough. The big boomer energy coming through here, but Jin gonna be taken away from Samso, so doesn't get that particular comfort champion. I imagine this is gonna be a Kaisa lock in first if we're following like traditional drafting meta. There it is. I'm a genius.
Yeah, 168 picks this weekend in pro play. Definitely the most picked ADC, so not surprised at all, but we're going to see Camille as the counter pick. Oh, Camille Galio.
All right,
A really good combo for Middlesticks already.
Yeah, this just feels like a very traditional draft, but Tendy's not hit up at all, leaving everything open for him, and he gets his Camille. The Galio rounds out probably for mid lane Hokage. I don't think that I've seen Black Salt play it. Mid lane Hokage, of course, the name change from X-Craze. Don't get confused, Middlestick fans. The Janna Hover for OTA Storm.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting. They've got both their bot lane picks without seeing what Middlesticks is going to pick. I think they feel like with the Nautilus down that maybe they can get away with the Janna fine. Janna is a pretty good pick. Most supports that can go the Moonstone Renewer are pretty strong right now. So, but because they blinded it, it gives Middlesticks an opportunity to pick a counter.
And the Hecarim. So this is actually a similar composition to what FlyQuest ran in their series, their last LCS game, before they were eliminated, unfortunately. But it's not like they don't have the synergy yet, right? The Janna pick doesn't make a whole lot of sense with Kaisa and Hecarim. Janna wants to, sit there and peel, which, works well into the Camille and Galio, but doesn't really empower the Hecarim and Kaisa. So it's kind of interesting. We have 2 dive comps basically building in the Leona. Just gonna further index into that for RTM.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to see them pick up the support here. With that Janna being up, they want to get their pick in here so that they don't get the engaged supports banned away. Middlesticks already drafting a very confrontational comp, hard engage, so we'll have to see how OTA Storm decides to deal with that in their last 2 picks here.
Yep, gonna take away the Fiora. That's a pretty good matchup into Camille. Don't blame them there, but you have a lot of options. I am curious if OTA will just knock Samso down the tier list. You could ban like an MF and an Ashe here, and we'd have to see him play something kind of unique we haven't seen him play if they go for that method. Or the Tristana, again, another pick. So I guess there are enough AD carries left.
Yeah, but there's not a lot that are high tier, so I think banning the Tristana, banning the MF would make a lot of sense here, especially with the Jhin already gone and they already have their ADC. So triple banning Samso might be a way to try to get themselves an advantage in that bot lane.
Yeah, they're really indexing toward this bottom lane with 3 bans already and probably a 4th coming here. So they're putting all of their eggs into the bot lane basket, which we'll see if that pays off for them. Gangplank taken
like
away.
Yeah, the Gangplank ban I kind of like. Like you said, it's going to be a bot lane focus probably for OTA Storm, and getting rid of the Gangplank, someone that can affect bot lane without the use of teleport and just using his ult, is a smart pick. On the Aphelios, this will be a new for Samso. We haven't seen him on this pick. It's a very strong pick in the meta. I think it's probably the last like S tier ADC that's left on the board. So good pickup from Middlesticks if they're able to play it. And we're going to see Orianna.
Yeah, a lot of team fight, a lot of dive. The Orianna would make the Janna make a little bit more sense because then you at least have a back lane to protect.
Right.
Or back line to protect, excuse me.
Yeah, there's still not great counter engage for OTA Storm. We'll have to see if they're able to kind of shore something up here with their top lane pick. And Camille's just a really strong pick, so it'll be interesting with the 2 top lane bans already out, or 3 with the Gragas.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting
just
waiting for they must have. I mean, the priority picks that they have are kind of interesting, but then waiting all the way till the last pick for their top lane counter when they've seen the enemy top laner the entire draft is kind of strange.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They get both their mid and top in the last rotation when they had, like, Middlesticks had already picked them in the first 2 picks.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Just very opposite priorities in draft so far. And this will be the jungler for Aiketo, and he'll lock in the Talia, it looks like. Shouldn't talk about hovers, that's bad technique, but there it is. So the Talia for Aiketo, that's one of my favorite champions to watch him play. So I'm really excited to see that one. And gives them a little bit more mix of damage. You can't just spec for the attack damage like on the top side of the Rift. So really good pick, I think, to round out the draft for ROTM.
Yeah, I really love this draft from ROTM. If you closed your eyes and opened them and didn't see the Middlesticks up there, you'd think this was an LCS level comp. Saw a lot of these types of comps this weekend. So I think as far as draft goes, I think ROTM got the better of this.
Yeah, and like just the sheer amount of ways that they can affect the map. Like Camille has a lot of mobility. They've started into draft. I'll flip over to it in just a second. But you have the Talia and Galio that can roam very easily with their ultimates. You have Camille, who has a lot of long range. You have that single target lockdown to guarantee the Galio knockup. It's just a really disgusting composition. It's going to be tough for OTA Storm, I think, to play around that. But what they've built for themselves is just... it's one of my favorite combos, the Orianna Wukong. You basically just put people in a blender if you catch them. And we'll see if they can take advantage of all those knockups and fears. I do worry a little bit about just the anti-synergy between, you have the Orianna and Wukong going in, but then if you also have Hecarim and Janna, those champions make people, flay out, whereas Orianna and Wukong want people all together so that they can hit them with the ultimates, so they have to be a little bit careful about how they layer everything.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a game where you're wanting to not look to 5v5. Middlesticks definitely has a stronger 5v5 comp, but I think if you could take some skirmishes where you're 3v2 or have the numbers advantage, you're definitely pretty strong for OTA Storm.
Yeah, and while they're going through pick bans for a second time, just wanted to take a small step back and talk a little bit like game theory, metagaming stuff. So for UML, 48 teams split into 8 divisions. So you have 6 teams in your divisions. You play round robin. The top 3 make playoffs. Top 1 gets a bye. So you have 5 games to prove yourself. That means if you go 3-2, you're basically guaranteed at least a tiebreaker for the last spot, right? So you're really looking at 4 wins to feel very, very safe. Uh, and, that starts right now for both of these teams. Coming in, new slate, 0-0. And we'll see how these teams array for week number 1. Some really strong fighting compositions. Here, I'm delaying because Lane has abandoned me once again, as per usual. But thank you guys for joining us here on the Middlesticks stream. Please drop a follow if you do not already follow this stream. We'll be live, or we'll attempt to be live unless they have a lot of reschedules for every UML match this season. We also cover our other teams as well on the stream. Would really appreciate your support if we don't already have it. But team composition's locked in. We'll head into our lovely 3-minute delay here in a second. And again, looking just across the drafts, it's a lot of index toward that bottom lane in terms of draft priority given by OTA Storm. Feels like they're really betting on the Kaisa Jana to do well in the bottom lane. They got their counter picks for Orion and Wukong as well. So if there was a draft for them, where they had everything that they wanted, this has to be it. Right, you're not going to get a more perfect setup where you got your priority picks that you wanted and you got to counter every other lane. Jungle notwithstanding, jungle is the one counter that the one counter pick that ROTM kind of got, and so I think we'll need to see the Talia really have a good game for Aikido.
Yeah, I think the bot lane is definitely the strong point for OTA Storm.
Return from your journey. I was wondering when you would come back from the war, but
yeah, I abandoned you for a little bit. My chess game didn't give me enough time to run to the bathroom, so I had to get that before this series. I didn't want to wet myself after watching this exciting draft that we have.
Yeah, honestly, kind of banger drafts for game number 1. It's a lot of aggro picks other than the mid lane, which will be a snooze fest, but
yeah, I think RTM also has a lot of roam potential, which is very nice. You've got the Galio ult, Camille super good at roaming with her hook shot, and then Talia Wall can just kind of come in out of Fog of War and gank a lane. I think if you're RTM, as long as you don't lose bot, you're really looking pretty good here as far as the draft goes. So
yeah, I was talking, I thought it was interesting the way OTA used their draft priority to get their bot lane early, and then they have what they feel are counter picks in both of their solo lanes. I don't know that they play out that way. Like I don't feel like Orianna counters Galio in any significant way. Wukong is fine into Camille, but not like the best champion,
Yeah, and I think with that top lane pick waiting till second rotation, they were actually able to ban out some other counters into the Camille. I don't think Gangplank's necessarily a counter, but they did ban away that Fiora, and then Gangplank that can kind of help that bot lane like I talked about earlier. So they kind of put him down on like a lower priority pick when you have a potential for a counter pick.
Yeah, but if you're thinking Camille counters, like the Maltharock Finamus is still there, the Shard of the Monolith, and that's...
Yes, and it gives another engage option as well, which is nice.
I do like the Wukong better, especially in terms of team composition, but like for ease of use as well as tankiness, you cannot beat the Shard of the Monolith currently. But yeah, going back to the RTM draft, I just really love, as Wing kind of points out in the chat, just the 2v2 combos, mid jungle, top jungle, jungle support. Like the Talia kind
Everything.
of makes all of those combos so nasty.
Right, and it's so easy. Talia can just follow up on literally any lane, because she can get her throwback with her rock, with Leona, with Galio, with Camille. So her ganks are going to be super strong.
Hell, even
Aphelios,
nice. If he's for some reason isolated, like as long as he's got purple gun, he's good to go.
Yeah, and I think it's just a really good combo draft. Anything can happen, you know, especially in these amateur games where one lane loses surprisingly or something like that. But um, not foreseeing a lane getting super ahead, I really like ROTM's comp.
Well, now let's see how they go with the acid test um, the Summoner's Rift. Tendi's going for the flex. It's covered up by our overlay currently, but he does not have a flash summoner spell this game.
Yeah, that is actually interesting. Definitely gives him more lane pressure, and playing a champ like Camille, you don't necessarily need it. But if you hookshot in and Hecarim shows up, you have no escape after that point. So really relying on snowballing from Tendies early with the Ignite. And if he's not able to find kills with that, it's going to be a little bit scary for him, especially later in the game without an escape option in the side lane.
Yeah, and I do kind of wonder how Tendies is feeling after like he had that huge pop off performance on Irelia, but then was largely shut down the next two games. So I'm kind of curious how Tendies is feeling coming into today.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good Riven performance last night in the last game, but just wasn't able to finish it off.
Also, Aikedo debuting his pool party Talia skin, won in a tournament. Not to put undue pressure on other people, but cool to see a lot of our Return of the Middlesticks players having success in a lot of other tournaments and areas. But here we are on to Summoner's Rift. On the blue side of the Rift, wearing the blue health bars for game number 1 will be OTA Storm, and on the top side of the Rift, wearing the red health bars, the boys. Return of the Middlesticks. Do you expect to see anything level 1? Well, never mind. I'm not going to ask you because you can see the pings on the map. So here comes the invade from ROTM, and OTA Storm is walking in a path that should spot nobody. Okay, well, Kaisa's playing a little bit back in here. This could be a big surprise when they walk in. Well, you know, nobody was in that top bush, so they actually don't get anything out of it. They're going to go for a cheeky counter invade, though, and maybe get some vision on that red side and try to spot where Aikedo's going to start.
Yeah, Tendies will see them, but he does have to be careful with no flash, especially at this level 1. But they are rotating some other players over to try to help him out in case anything funky does happen. But it actually looks like OTA Storm might go for a red buff steal. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Hecarim was on the bot side. I thought he was up there with Wukong.
Yeah, underneath the Wukong, but just the ward up there, same so even autos this ward, so they know probably vaguely where these wards are placed, and we'll see how Aikedo can play around that early on. They do have the ward on the enemy red buff, red buff as well to spot Hijab Warrior number 99 here, as well as Woman Are Evil and Stuart Littlemain, which are all just really not great names to cast.
Yeah, OTA Storm does get a lot of vision down. 3 wards already expended. We'll have to see if Aikedo is able to kind of use that to his advantage with all those wards down, especially in top lane, not being able to see that. He's going to be pathing that way. But outside of that, they should be able to play safe because they'll know where he is roughly.
Yeah, and if you just take a glance at the team's OPGGs, should be a pretty significantly higher average rank for Return of the Middlesticks. So it's both daunting and not, I guess. You want to play as almost as safe as possible early on because you know that you should outscale and outplay. But at the same time, if you give up too much for free, you can hand an easier game over to your opponents for no reason. So I'm curious to see kind of where that balance is for ROTM here in game number 1, how nervous they're feeling coming into their first game in UML.
Yeah, and Tendi's already got the shove. We'll have to be a little bit careful without the flash, like we mentioned, because Hecarim's pathing his way up here. Luckily, Aikedo on the Talia is also making his way up here, so...
Yeah, Ojnaf
really
is going to get very low. Oh, the tactical... the Precision Protocol Q2 actually just into the Wukong clone, unfortunately, that he took at level 2. Burns the Ignite into it as well, so not going to get that solo kill, even though he did kill a Wukong.
Yeah, that is big, but we are just going to see a jungle invade on top side with that advantage.
Yeah, Hijab Warrior taken low, gonna get knocked back into the
Oh,
rocks, and
nice,
it's
nice
first
block.
blood for Aikedo off of the auto attack. Really nice combo there from Tendies and Aikedo.
Yeah, that was a really, really well-placed knockback by Talia there as we go into the pause. Just because Hecarim's Eing and ghosting out, it's a really hard skill shot to hit normally without the stun, and then with all that move speed as well. Uh, really well placed there. So first blood over to Aikedo.
Yep, and sorry, pulling up the game pause screen just to make sure there's no funny business happening during a live game. Looked like Black Salt both flashed in at level 2 and then DC'd, so that's kind of unfortunate, but we'll get back into game as soon as we can. Until then, you get to look at me sitting here awkwardly trying to fill time. Um, but it's a good start already for ROTM. Tendi's getting the shove, getting a small CS advantage, but then the big thing was with that shove, able to immediately influence the enemy jungler.
Yeah, and because Wukong was so low health, he wasn't really able to respond. Really smart 2v2 decision there to go invade that the enemy's jungle and get a kill there. It looks like we're going to be back into game here shortly. Both teams saying they're ready, so hopefully we get back in.
Yep.
Sadly, the Black Salt did blow his flash, as you mentioned, and as we said, OTA Storm is going to be wanting to look to put pressure down on the spot side. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them too badly, but we'll have to see.
Yep, game unpaused, and we'll jump right back in. You don't have to look at me anymore, grinning awkwardly into the camera. So, now Black Salt without his flash. Unfortunately, Hijab Warrior without his ghost now, so a little bit less surprise factor coming in on that potential gank to bottom side. But you can see Aikedo going to take the top scuttle, and then path toward mid lane. Zoebi going to get taunted. Ooh, not quite taunted up. He somehow had... Not somehow. It just wasn't quite the right chain of CC there for mid lane Hokage, and he's able to flash out. But it does get them priority over this second scuttle, and now Hijab Warrior not only hitting the death early on. Oh, Tendies, the flash away from Ajnaf. He turns it around. The tower shot was too much, and it's a solo kill for Ajnaf in the top lane.
Yeah, really good flash there from the Wukong, able to avoid the hook shot and then just turn it around after Camille takes the tower shot. Wave luckily is going to be pushing back into Camille. Comes back with the Sheen and teleports in to try to fix that.
Yeah, Black Salt going to hit the
really
Zenith
good.
Blade in the bottom lane. Stuart Littlemain low. They have the snare from Samso if they want to pop it, but not quite using it just yet. The Ignite ticking down the Janna, and they'll continue to trade that one out. So it's a good trade in the bottom lane, but the Ignite burned from Black Salt in exchange for the Janna Flash. Meanwhile, Tendies and Ajnaf renewing pleasantries up in the top lane.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of the strength of Wukong a little bit. He's able to just get a lot of armor from his passive in the extended trades, but Tendi's looking
Tendies
really
with
strong
the hook
here.
shot, has the Q2 available. Not quite enough to finish him off, but the auto is, and it's a counter solo kill for Tendies up in the top lane.
Yeah, that's really nice, but we've got Hecarim lurking around here. Doesn't decide to go for it, just gonna catch the top wave as Tendies pushes it in and gets back to base to get his gold. Oh,
Ooh, Aikedo may be looking for the dive as they come in. They hit the hook shot. Tendies has turret aggro, and they just blow up Hijab Warrior in the top lane. 3-1 now in kills as Black Salt and Samso continue to look for an engage down here in the bottom lane. But so far, Stuart Littlemain and Women Are Evil doing all right, keeping up in CS, just falling a little bit behind from the constant pressure from Black Salt and Samso.
And you can just see how deadly this setup for the Talia is. Pretty much a stun just spells death for whoever gets hit. Really good combo there in the top lane to get another kill onto the Hecarim.
Yeah, good trades here in mid lane, though, for Zoebi. I feel really bad about that pronunciation.
Zoebi? Who knows?
Who knows? Hopefully someone in the chat can maybe
Yeah.
help us out with that one. But
we're down to pronounce it correctly.
and Black Salt going to DC while he's doing the dragon, and that'll get another pause for us. So, Zobi. Okay, I can deal with Zobi. That's fine.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Again, if we do mispronounce anything, do let us know. We'll try to correct that. Zobi. Okay. So again, another pause as Black Salt DCs while the dragon going on. Although that's info that's not technically available in the game, so I shouldn't be saying it during a pause screen. But um, professionalism and whatnot. So as we reset, actually they're already readying up again in the chat, so it shouldn't be too long before we start back up. 3-1 in kills right now for RTM. About a 1,500 gold lead here early on as well. What do you like so far from OTA Storm, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kaisa is kind of scaling, hasn't recalled yet, staying even in CS. Kaisa not known for a super strong early game, but you know, if they can maybe look to put some bot lane pressure down and get this Kaisa a kill or two, I think that's where they need to start focusing their efforts.
Uh,
Also, good.
I was just saying, I'm chuckling because of the chat. Stuart Littlemain, you guys have a support with a slow router. We have a support with a slow brain. Oof. All right. Well,
The self dig, I can
this,
respect that.
yeah. Mad ups to Stuart Littlemain, but um, again, oh, well, the DC again from Black Salt. So, gonna be another minute or two. Hopefully, we'll resolve all of his problems here shortly. Because less than ideal to continually disconnect throughout the game. Casted a Gold League finals where one of the players DC'd at like minute 6 and then never reconnected. And that was kind of tragic. But um, yeah, I really like that Ojnaf coming out, not being intimidated by the Tendies too, taking the Bruiser v Bruiser matchup, and already with a solo kill to show for it. So that's um, a much better showing than we usually see from enemy top laners coming into Tendies the first time.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, he had a really good outplay with the flash on the hook shot earlier to get that counter kill. Now he is a little bit behind because he gave one back to Tendies. And with that ignite coming back up, we'll have to see if Tendies is able to get another kill here with the wave in a good spot. But it looks like RTM has started up the dragon out of this pause, so we'll have to see if they're able to pick that up for themselves.
Yeah, the dragon actually, I believe, is about a third, maybe a quarter health, with Hecarim potentially closing in, although this is all in Fog of War, so we'll see how they play it off of the restart, but um, bad parent art. I'm trying to figure out um, if we're close to restarting. There actually isn't a way to turn off the chat right now in spectator mode, which is super fun. By the way, for Zobi, who is commenting that asking if we can see the chat on stream, we can because there's literally no way to turn it off other than to move the chat window off of your monitor. Um, but then you might not be able
Can't you
to
do
chat
it
with your
from
solo
the
queue teams and
short
tell
menu?
them. I'm sorry.
I think when you hit I, there's like a chat option to
Yeah,
turn off if
it's
you.
it's literally turned off right now, but I can't remove it. It's still there.
Oh, did it just
Yeah.
come anyway? That's so silly. Oh, it is there.
Yeah, it's impossible.
That's funny.
Yeah, you can try to kill it, but it remains, and then yeah, you don't want to just move it off screen because that actually affects your placement in game. So how else would I tell my solo queue teammates to kill themselves? I need to keep my chat up.
Yes, the chat is here to stay, right? Has decided.
Um, Man, a lot of Ajna fans in the chat. Good to see. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully, we'll see some more good plays from the Wukong. Already with the one outplay early on. Unfortunately, solo killed shortly thereafter, but as happens sometimes in top lane, you do taketh and giveth in equal amounts. Another reconnection in the game, so hopefully before too long. We've used up like 7 minutes of pause time already, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm actually not 100% sure on what the UML rules are. I would assume it's like most leagues where you get the half of the pause time, the 15 minutes. So hopefully RTM gets this router issue figured out for Black Salt and is able to continue with the game.
Oh, we have readies in the chat, so should be relatively shortly before we get back in. Um, Hopefully Black Salt can stay connected to the game. That would be a an advantage, as tending to have your support connected to the game the entire time would be. I don't really like that there
Yeah.
were readies in the chat, and then now we're still just sitting here. I feel like the chat is desynced from what you actually see. There we go. Okay, we're restarting. So back into game in 3, 2, and 1, and immediately Tendies hits the Q2 onto Ajnaf and forces the clone back away. And there's the Dragon slain as well. So Infernal Dragon, 6.5 minutes in for RTM. That's relatively early Dragon priority for an Aikido team.
Yeah, 6 minutes in, I think they just felt like they had the pressure. This Hecarim has been kind of shut down, already 0-2. So maybe they just decided, hey, we've got a shot at getting this. But yeah, not much to speak of outside of that. A little bit of a 2K gold lead for RTM and the first Dragon. So
Yep,
small lead for them.
Rome here from mid lane Hokage, maybe looking for the dive on bottom lane, but going to be spotted out on the control ward placed there by Zobi, and will have to return back to mid lane. Although he's got Aikido in his back pocket, we could see a big 2v2 scrap here. Justice Punch, I think, just went directly into the wall. I thought I saw him lurch forward on the minimap, but I'm not 100% sure. Regardless, not going to get a whole lot done there on that attack, and Zobi and mid lane Hokage will continue to clear waves at each other.
Yeah, that is always one of those skill shots on Galio that I find I have the hardest time. I always like shortchange it by a little bit sometimes, so maybe that's what happened there. But
yep, and Justice Punch going to connect. This is actually a huge trade onto Zobi. That was really nicely done by mid lane Hokage. But now Tendies and Ajnaf still continuing to duel. That's going to be the turret plate for Tendies as he's continuing some pressure. Unfortunately, Tactical Sweep, not quite the same amount of healing as a tower shot does damage. But here comes the roam in. Tendies gets the Galio ult on top, and they're not going to be able to lock down Ajnaf. He's using the Cyclone, really dodging out. Going to get the second one, and Tendies has to invest the Hextech Ultimatum, but he'll be able to escape. So somehow that dive kind of works out for ROTM, and they do take down Ajnaf, investing both ults in the process, as well as mid lane Hokage's flash.
yeah, I do have to say Ajnaf really played that very well and made ROTM work for that kill, using his ultimate to really interrupt some of the CC that was coming his way. So well played from him, but just not enough to outlast.
Ooh, Aikido going to spot Hijab Warrior. They're going to have a honorable jungle duel as Tendies might come in and interrupt it. The Onslaught of Shadows comes through as the mid laner Zobi collapses, looking for anything he can get. The flash away from the Shockwave is so good, but here's Stuart Littlemain up for the Monsoon to heal everybody up. Aikido doesn't take the Weaver's Wall back out, but they're able to take down on the killing spree for the Talia. He can't quite find the threaded volley through, but now finally does, confirms a second kill for himself, but is in trouble as Ajnaf will come and give him the bonk, send him to horny jail, and it's a shutdown for Ajnaf in the top lane.
Yeah, and that's really huge. A 500 gold shutdown onto Ajnaf on the Wukong. I have to say, Stuart Littlemain made the impact in that fight, roaming up from bot lane. Really good roam from him to just kind of support his Hecarim as he went in to kill Tendies and Aikido.
Yeah, but continued pressure here opened up for RTM as they do take down a couple of turret plates in the bottom lane. Samso and Black Salt having a really good laning phase so far, up 11 CS against the double ranged matchup. So feeling pretty good, however, just a little bit behind in terms of actual value in the inventory right now. You have pickaxe, longsword, boots, compared to the Finnish Noon Quiver, which just gives a little bit better spike for Woman Are Evil. Woman Are Evil? Just a singular one.
Just singular. Not all.
Oh, no.
Black Salt DCs again. We are continuing though, so we'll have to see if RTM just elects to let it happen. Okay.
All right. Well,
there he goes. Very sad.
I don't want to be on camera, so here's a different BRB screen for a little bit. You can watch this crow. Yeah, so since the last time that we spoke, kills have gone 3-2 in favor of ROTM. They've extended their gold lead out to 3,500. Um, BRB, I have to log off the McDonald internet connection headed to KFC. That's fair. No memes. We had one of the players for our org actually play on a McDonald's connection during one of our GRSCS games.
They have a good connection, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly okay for a fast food connection. Um,
I do have to commend OTA Storm for not being too mad about the DCs. Just kind of joking about it, which is nice to see. I know sometimes you just can't help it, and it feels bad when the enemy team makes you feel bad for it, but I appreciate that they're keeping it light.
yeah, would appreciate if Black Salt's router would stay connected to the game. That would help me out tremendously because I want to go to bed or eat some food or do things that are tangentially related to that. But for now, we look at our League of Legends game, getting close to some of those completed mythics. The first one completed by Tendy's up in the top lane. He has his Trinity Force now, which is just a bonkers power spike to have at 10 minutes and 18 seconds into the game.
Yeah, very strong, especially considering Wukong's only on half an item. So with that Ignite coming up and Wukong being in the side lane with him most of the time, it's going to be looking for Tendies to just kind of keep... Sorry, I was reading chat.
Yeah,
We've got...
looks like RTM going to unpause at 20 minutes left in the timer, which I believe is the rule. So um, going to have to play 4v5 for at least a little bit before Black Salt can reconnect to the game. So hopefully he's not out for too long. Otherwise, this might get very strange very fast. All right, we've hit 20 minutes, so we should see that unpause coming through, and there it is. So we'll be back into game Lessa Leona. Again, hopefully he can get whatever issues he's having rectified shortly so that the game can continue in a fair state. But for now, this is the reality that we have to deal with. And as you mentioned, Tendy's continuing to push in. The red buff going to keep Ajnaf relatively healthy, though, through these trades as long as he allows himself to regen. Really good use of the clone, though. This is the interaction that you have to do when you're Wukong against Camille. Unfortunately, the clone cooldown is a lot longer than the hook shot, and as you can see, Tendy's still just taking advantage on cooldown, has the Cyclone, uses the Hextech Ultimatum, but he finds the solo kill in top lane.
And that's just the item difference there. We see how strong Tendy's is with his Qs, able to just chunk Wukong out with the clone out, and Ojnaf trying to play it the best he can, but just not enough that he can make up for in the raw stats.
Yeah, and he has Ignite up now, so the return for Ajnaf could be even more difficult for him, and we'll see with Cyclone down, with the Ignite up for Tendy's. He actually just burns that. Camille is so balanced right now.
Yeah, very strong champion. I do have to say, even though it's a 4v5, it's nice that RTM does have a lead to kind of cushion that. We'll have to see how much being a player down affects them, but if you're going to be a player down, you definitely want to have this type of lead. So Tendy's continuing to just go away on this top side, and Aikato's right here. We'll have to see if they try to dive Ojnaf again.
Yeah, Aikato in the back pocket, but he's going to find Zobi and Stuart Littlemain. He's able to smite for a little bit of health. Can he actually get over the wall? He doesn't have flash available, so he's just going to fall. It's a shutdown for Zobi as they're looking to continue tracking down Tendy. He's not quite going to find him, but now Hijab Warrior going to spot out mid lane Hokage. He's going to find the entire team from OTA Storm, get knocked back in by the Onslaught of Shadows, and this is a really good move by OTA. That's a huge Monsoon knocking him back into the team. They should eventually have the damage to kill him, I would imagine. Yeah. He can't get away with the Justice Punch. Ojnaf takes down the kill, and OTA Storm strike back, but they're going to lose maybe a little bit on the bottom side. Not too much, actually, for Samso, as he's just now hitting that wave into the tower.
Yeah, that was a really nice Onslaught of Shadows, actually canceling the Galio dash there. But oh my goodness, Tendi's just chunking.
Tendi's.
Oh,
Tendi's
the
is
damage on Camille.
Tendi's is fully online. Yeah, not too much to say about that one. Zobi thought that he could exist in the lane, and unfortunately was wrong. Now losing even more turret plates in mid, and Hijab Warrior steps up to Tendi's and cannot dance with him. Ojnaf comes in, has the tactical sweep, has the Cyclone available, but he just doesn't have enough damage or mana, and Tendi's still looking for it. Hits the hook shot into the precision protocol, or yeah, not quite enough. Now fighting the Janna with the teleport coming in from Zobi. He's got to try to get out, but Aikedo trying to help out over the wall, the threaded volley. He gets pulled back in with Shockwave. As he goes in, they find the kill onto Zobi. He's on to Stuart Littlemain. A double kill for Aikedo. What? Tendi's lives.
Oh my god, Tendi's with just an insane outplay. Barely living with just sub 10 HP there. Aikedo helping out, make sure he had enough damage to finish them off, but man, Tendi's is just rolling through OTA Storm.
Well, not taking a break after his Irelia performance last night, just immediately rolling that one in. What a monster play by Tendi's. Good on Aikedo to roam down and give him just that little bit of help that he needed. Also steal both of his kills, but you know, as you do occasionally. Still has Rift Herald in his inventory, so ROTM can look for a play on mid lane or on bottom lane. And I guess if you're down a man, you might as well have Tendi's count for at least 2.
Yeah, that's the way it's looking. Able to just, I think the biggest thing is Tendi's was isolated with all of those targets there. It's just kind of one at a time. I mean, not with the Janna exactly, but not the most helpful when it's just Janna and Ori against Aikedo and Tendi's.
Yeah, Tendi's now roaming down to the bottom lane, the only lane he hasn't got solo kills in, and now trying to find Stuart Littlemain. Just gonna take a casual, I don't know, 7/8 of his health potentially. I don't know what fraction you would call that.
For the heal. So RTM just trying to get some farm, especially on this Aphelios, who's solo laning down here, trying to pick up objectives as they can, but we'll have to see. It's going to be kind of weird to play without your support. That your vision game is going to be a lot weaker. So hopefully Tendi's can make up with that with some kills, but already blowing a couple more flashes there.
Yeah, Ojnaf, that's actually a really good taunt by mid lane Hokage, able to get both the clone and the real Wukong in it. I don't think they're going to be able to make a whole lot happen. Tendi's is feeling himself a little bit too much, gets pulled in by the Shockwave. Auto attacks from Zobi, going to go in with the Hextech Ultimatum. He's actually got enough damage. That's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I think Oriana's just a little too far behind there. If they had a little bit more damage, might be able to actually fight, but Tendi's is just so strong, especially with the healing now coming in from the Hydra. Is able to just sustain through that.
Yeah, and even Aikedo gonna go ahead and pinch out a Hijab Warrior off of his wolf camp, and they're just, like, if you're down a man in resources, you might as well try to take away like, that person's worth of resources from the enemy team. This is about as well as you can do in a 4v5, and especially lacking that big initiation tool in the Leona's existence. Again, hopefully Black Salt can come back soon. I miss him. But teleport back to mid lane from mid lane Hokage, as you would expect from his name.
Yeah, and I think this is where OTA Storm can really take advantage of the 4v5 with the dragon spawning here. In 10 seconds, if they are able to kind of use their man advantage to get themselves a lead, but
taunt not quite there from mid lane Hokage, but he has to invest the Janna ultimate. Still burning down to Winds of War, but it's not quite enough. The teleport forced from Ojnaf as OTA Storm pretty much all here in the mid lane. Zobi the exception, and it looks like RTM might just try to collapse on him as he's had the audacity to stand underneath his own tower. Oh, that was such a good dodge, though. Like, the little bit of mechanical skill that he needed to have, he had right there.
Yeah, really good dodge there. And the best way to forget about the 4v5 advantage is to get rid of Janna right before the objective spawns. And then Tendi's just roaming to the bot side and getting himself another solo kill. This Camille is just super strong in the side lane. It's going to be really hard to deal with her.
So towers traded in top and bottom lanes, so OTA Storm at least on the board in that aspect. It's still a gigantic gold lead for ROTM, Leona notwithstanding. And yeah, this is so hard to, like, you have to play side lanes, right? When you're 4v5. Let's go through a theory
Right.
of 4v5. Like, you can't just group up and try to fight 4v5 unless you have just an absolutely ridiculously. Do you think that RTM are there, or do they have to continue to play the side lane game?
I think it's a lot smarter for them to play the side lane game, especially considering they have things like Talia ult and Galio ult that can help Tendies in the side lane. I think splitting them, trying to isolate targets is their best chance. Alternatively, OTA Storm can try to engage on Tendies as a group. I think that's the best way for them to try to fight back in this game, or engage on the isolated targets.
Yeah, good flash
Across
from
the map.
Sam, so they're able to avoid the shockwave from Zobi. And this is kind of the group up that you needed to see. Oh my gosh! Zobi burning down to the Leandries, and Aikido will finish him off with the threaded volley. Here comes the squad, the Avengers entrance for Tendies and mid lane Hokage as they take down the Janna and Kaisa as well. 16-5 in kills for ROTM. They'll grab this mid lane tower at the end of that, but they're not done. They dive onto Ajnaf. The Onslaught of Shadows just trying to be disruptive, but Hijab Warrior dies to the rocket belt. Ajnaf still using the Cyclone, trying to do the damage that he can, but it's just not there. The ace for ROTM.
Yeah, Tendi's just finding a really good TP there, able to force a fight, and man, ROTM is just rolling. They can just kind of do whatever they want, dive these turrets, especially with Tendi's hookshot. He is just having a monster game. RTM definitely wants to end this game quickly because they're down a man. They don't want OTA Storm to have a way to come back and farm back up. That is kind of the one thing that they've got going for them, is they are a man up. So they're going to try to, I think they can try to fend off the Baron as long as they stay grouped. And I think that's going to be where they're going to have to fight.
Yeah, and this is, it's just such a unique circumstance for a competitive game to be 4v5. So you either, really have to finish it off early, or hope that Black Salt can reconnect if, like, later on, if you start to fall even a little bit behind on your pacing. And for now, our team doing a really good job trying to keep their vision control up. They actually have the second Herald in the pocket of Aikido as well to try to find some of these critical base structures, and they'll push in toward mid lane right now. Galliwalt not available right this second, so mid lane Hokage won't be able to join immediately. Instead, just continuing to get vision control over this red side jungle. Ajnaf not quite fancying his chances there. He's got his finished Gore Drinker, so he's actually pretty strong, as we saw in the last fight, was able to fight and sustain through. Woman are Evil going to be dove onto. Tendies gets knocked back by the Monsoon, but it just doesn't matter. Here comes Aikido, here comes mid lane Hokage. They're on to Zobi. A couple more autos will finish that one off. Double kill for Tendies as Ajnaf and the Hijab Warrior now able to enter the fray. A couple of autos come through, and they'll jump onto Hijab Warrior. Triple kill for Tendies. Ajnaf is low. He has the Gore Drinker healing. Aikido steals his quadra kill. He's on a rampage, but ROTM pushing through. GG's called in the chat. I don't know that they can actually finish this off before the respawn, though.
It's going to be close. We'll have to see if RTM elects to try to go for it. Got only 3 minions left, but yeah, it looks like they're not going to get it in time. Dragon is spawning soon, so RTM will want to reset potentially before looking for their third dragon of the game, but man, just showing you the difference in the gold lead between ROTM and OTA Storm. Just continue to dive and dive and dive.
Yeah, the benefit of dragging out the game a little bit longer is hopefully it gives longer for Black Salt to continue to connect to the game. I don't know what the emergency sub rules are, if you could bring in, anybody, how many bans you lose, if you're even allowed to. Again, new league, so not as familiar with the rulebook as I probably should be, but Ocean Dragon is up that might be the next objective for our OTM. Just set up that Ocean Soul. Just make sure that you have that little bit of late game scaling that you might need. Aikido does have to be careful with the second Herald. That'll expire relatively shortly. We'll want to use that before it does. Tendies, meanwhile, is not giving them any time. Doesn't have the flash to get away. Again, just gonna continue to scrap it out, and now finally has the hookshot back up. So casually walks in, takes about 3/4 of Zobi and Hijab Warrior's health, and then will get away.
Yeah, RTM gonna use Shelly to get this last turret. Looks like they're gonna try to last stand.
Yeah, this is actually looking pretty good. Aikido able to Zanya's it away. Onslaught of Shadows is good, but Samso finally finds his second kill of the game. They do shut down Aikido in the process. Ajnaf still alive on the backline, but it just doesn't matter as Tendies very strong, still continuing through. Zobi gets auto attacked to death. Double kill for Tendies. Oh my god.
There's nothing you can do. He finally dies to the turret. Gonna be a kind of dying breath there for Tendies. 15, 3, and 9. Just an awesome performance.
Yep, and both Nexus turrets will fall, and the Nexus will as well. GG, well played, called in the chat. They do need to finish it off. Okay, they will. So, 27-7 in kills. Tendies 15-3. Aikido 8-3. Black Salt 0-0-0. You know, hanging in there.
KDA player doesn't do anything the whole game, doesn't die. It's not like he just sat in base all game. I don't know.
Yeah. So we will have a short break while we figure out what's going on, but it'll be game number 2 coming up. Our OTM on match point against OTA Storm. We'll be right back with game number 2. Lane, make sure to jump into the game. It's the same code.
That's right. Perfect.
All right, so as an update for the stream, looks like our team going to opt to use an emergency sub, which does cost them a game in the series. So series tied 1-1 now. Game's going to be on match point. And Kyrogenes is going to be subbing in for ROTM in the bot lane, an off roll. I think an off roll of an off roll even, if I remember correctly. So we'll see how he fills in.
Yeah, I know he has been playing some support more recently, so should be better than playing 4v5 for sure. But on the bright side, RTM does drop a game, but that does mean we are going to make up all that lost time for the pause in game 1, so it should be a pretty normal series length.
Yeah, so here we are into picks and bans for game number 3. If you missed game number 2, so did we. But Camille immediately going to be banned out by OTA Storm. Really can't blame them there.
Yeah, after that game 1 performance, I don't think anyone wants to go against Tendi's Camille. So the losing team does end up getting side selection. So OTA Storm selecting to go to blue side again. Middlesticks deciding to ban out the Gragas again.
Didn't we lose game 2 just now?
I don't know how that works. I'm gonna say they probably still get side select. First game is random, and then every time it goes up.
Yeah,
that is funny.
I'm not super worried about it. I just thought it was funny. The Swain taken away from Cairo, and then we've got the Gragas Twitch. Same bans for Return of the Middlesticks. I am very curious what Cairo is going to play. I have no idea what his support champion pool looks like. I did remember he played Swain for a while, so you know that's one less champion that I know that he plays in the role. So
yeah, not sure what to talk about with his support, but definitely will be better than playing a 4v5. So I'm happy that he was able to sub in here at the last minute, and we'll have to see how it affects the bot lane.
Yeah, you say it's better than a 4v5. He might just come in and completely run it down, and then it would be worse.
That's true. Samso did a good job not dying by himself, so have to give him props there.
Alright, and Galio going to be taken away, so no first pick there. That would still open up the Kaisa, which you would think would be the de facto first pick, but could be something else. Could see a Jhin. A lot of options open. I don't know if there's anything like super notable from OTA Storm that they would want to go back to, so this...
Yeah, I think Kaisa makes a lot of sense here, just a really strong... Oh, and the Olaf, which was banned in game 1 on the 3rd ban, but they might elect to go for it here, and they do.
Alright, so now we'll have to see what Aikido counters Olaf with. Yeah, just a really strong, disgusting healing champion. And it'll be the Kaisa countered for Samso, and the Pantheon, which is notably a flex pick. I don't know if Cairo plays it. I do know that Aikido and Tendies have both played it. I bet mid lane Hokage also plays it because, of course, it's just a 4-way flex pick. And OTA Storm going to counter potentially with a 3-way flex pick.
Yeah, both teams electing to pick up the champions that were banned away in game 1. The Olaf for OTA Storm and then Pantheon for Middlesticks. So it will be a different game for sure. Kaisa going over to Middlesticks, though, that is a very strong bot laner. Don't have to go through all of the potential bans that Samso was facing last time. So
And
gonna go back to the Janna.
Yeah, back to the Janna. The Janna wasn't a bad pick by any means, just kind of died to the Camille, but actually looks like we're going to go for the wife steal lane. So Thresh and Lucian locked in for Woman Are Evil and Stuart Little main.
Yeah, enemies in the lore teaming up there. And Ivern Hover. We'll have to see if Middlesticks decides to go for that.
Yeah, I really don't think so, but I guess there is the possibility that is a champion that exists in this game. Shaco locked in.
Huh.
Okay.
Is Shaco support?
I would imagine that that's Shaco support.
Interesting.
I've been told that I pronounced that champion's name wrong, but yeah.
You know, it's potato. It's all okay. I know the Ivern Hover was interesting there because it is a big counter into Olaf. Pantheon is already locked in. I do expect us to go to jungle, but we'll have to see what RTM decides to do. The same red side ban there going to go ahead and ban Fiora. It looks like they're probably just going to ban Tendies, more of Tendies champions. If I had to guess, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, the Riven, probably the Irelia next. Just take all of those away. Gangplank again, the same final 2 bans for Return to the Middlesticks, so at least headed back to the well there. A lot of priority on this top lane. I'm imagining that this will be a Tendies counter pick game, so we'll have to see what potentially mid lane Hokage wants to blind. A lot of options available.
Yeah, and you still have Pantheon that could be your potential flex if we see another ban go through here for top lane like we expect.
Oh,
it's gonna be Zoe. And that's kind of a weird ban. That's not something that I've seen mid lane Hokage play a lot of. So interesting to say the least, but maybe they were thinking Cairo is gonna go to mid or something like that. But
yeah,
Anivia, very safe pick. Mid lane Hokage has played a lot of it, so gladly will get his last kind of send-off game before they nerf her next patch. So
yeah, I was gonna say it felt like Anivia or Syndra, and opting for the Anivia this time. OTA Storm. I don't know that they want the Orianna with this comp, although it synergizes decently with the Olaf. It feels like they need something to help get Olaf into the fight. I don't know exactly what that would be. Syndra really isn't it, but that just is another strong team fighting generic champion.
Yep, and we'll have to see what they decide to go blind into Tendies here. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to go for the Wukong again. Was fine with it last time, but I'll have to see.
Yeah, I thought Ajnaf looked really good on the Wukong, just got dove quite a bit. The Mordekaiser is another option to kind of separate Aikido and Tendies from each other, and that'll be locked in. I do worry a little bit that's a lot of AP topside. Not that Tendies was necessarily one to build defensive stats. The hover on a Mumu, that would be very surprising if that were locked in.
Oh, Jax is one of the premier counters into Mordekaiser because you can use your E to dodge Mordekaiser's auto attacks, which doesn't allow him to proc his passive. So I really like this counter pick. Tendies is very well versed on Jax for sure. So OTA Storm, I like their draft better. I think it's a better like 5v5 comp, but Middlesticks definitely has better 2v2 potential, and the Shaco support pick will be very interesting to see. I'm excited to see how that does.
Yeah, that's the big wrinkle. The Shaco and Kaisa bottom lane. We'll see how that pair synergizes. I guess we could see just the weird swap. That could be the Pantheon support for like Aikido or something, and then you could see a Shaco jungle. We're making assumptions based on what we know of the players, but could still be open for that flex.
Yeah, we'll have to see as they go through picks and bans here is what they decide to elect for themselves. But if it is Tendies or if it is Shaco support, will be very spicy bot lane for sure.
Yeah, and we'll see. You're not required to lock in an order, but it does usually signify what you're going to play, and there's the Pantheon for Aikato, so likely going to be the jungle Pantheon, which I think we would expect. I don't know about that Pantheon into Olaf matchup. How do you feel about that in particular?
I don't know. I think Pantheon, both of these junglers are actually just super strong. Pantheon kind of has his escape from some of that damage with his E, is able to mitigate a lot of that. But if Olaf's able to slow and get behind you, can kind of mitigate that himself. And if you don't kill Olaf before your E runs out, then you're kind of in a rough spot. Although Pantheon does have ways to affect the map with his ultimate, so hopefully he can use that and try to avoid the 1v1 on the Olaf. I don't think it's necessarily losing for him, but it's definitely not something you all want to find, especially in the early game, Olaf being one of those premier early game junglers.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about the Syndra counter into Anivia. Do you feel like that's a strong matchup for her?
Into the Aurelia?
The Syndra into Anivia.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I heard Aurelia. I think... I don't know. I think it gives you good setup onto her. You can also cancel, if I believe, Anivia's R with a stun. So if you can kind of hold that to let it come out, that might help you out some. But it definitely does help set up Olaf to help gank your lane. But, you know, Anivia, one of those champions that's just really good at staying safe, getting farm, and getting to that late game. And mid lane Hokage, very comfortable on the pick, so...
Yeah, I just worry as Syndra, like, it feels really difficult to step up into the Anivia, because if you can't 100 to 0 her, you're just stuck in the Flash Frost, or the Glacial Storm. I don't remember what it's called. The Anivia ultimate. You're stuck in there because you can't get back over the wall that would come behind you.
Right. And so if you have that knockback, you might be able to cancel it out of there, but I think also, you know, Syndra's usually one of those characters that likes to press her go button, just hit the R and kill you. And if Anivia is in a relatively safe spot with the egg, might be able to even respawn and kind of mitigate that. So it should be interesting to see how that mid lane matchup plays out.
Yeah, I'm focusing so much on that because that was like the big counter that OTA got out of the draft. Like the Mordekaiser was blind, so the Jax should naturally beat that because you would think that, you know, Tendies would know his counter picks. The bot lane was kind of picked around the same time. You also didn't necessarily know if the Shaco was support at that point. Maybe you did. Maybe this is the Lucian Thresh counter lane, but that doesn't feel like you necessarily got a counter there. So I think it comes a lot down to how the Syndra and Olaf can perform against the Anivia.
Yeah, I am interested. I'm not sure. So I remember back in the day when Malzahar support was a thing, is you'd play him into hook champs so that you could throw your W on the ground and spawn your little minions to block the hooks. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if Shaco traps work like that now. They patched the Malzahar thing out where there's a little bit of a delay on getting the spawn of the minions, but I think Shaco trap is instant, and especially on someone that like Thresh that has a little bit of a wind up on their hook, you might be able to block it with good enough reaction time.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting.
And it looks like that's what people in the chat are confirming that for me, so
yeah, that'll be interesting to see if Kairo's on that, ready to throw down on some boxes. Minute 30 left in our spectator delay. Thanks, guys, for joining us here. This is the official Middlesticks stream. If you don't follow us, please hit that follow button. It does help support us. We also have some cool crow emotes you can check out and sub if you are feeling spicy. We appreciate Prime subs as well if you have that extra. But that's enough shilling. 1 minute left. Series tied at 1, unfortunately. So series deciding match. Which draft would you rather be playing? Like, nameplates off. Which draft do you like better?
Yeah, I really like OTA Storm's draft here. I think it gives them a lot more team fight potential. I think RTM has a lot more difficult comp to pull off. They have the skill check of the Shaco, and then also they have things like they have to use the Pantheon ult well, which can be kind of difficult. So assuming that the players were evenly matched, I definitely like OTA Storm's draft.
Gonna open up the yield prediction. Um, give me 5 minutes just for fun. All right. There we go. Who's going to win game number 3? Will it be OTA Storm? Will it be Return of the Middlesticks? Thank you all for following the stream, for any subs that we've gotten. Really appreciate the support. I'd call out individually, but I don't want to feel like too big of a shill. So let's head in to game predictions up in the stream. You can bet all of your hard-earned channel points on the outcome of this game number 3 between OTA Storm and Return of the Middlesticks in week 1 of Upsurge Minor League. Again, both teams looking to get on the board with their first win of the season. Unfortunate, potentially, for ROTM to not actually lose the game, but lose the point in the standings. Might come back to bite them a little bit later on. I guess we'll see if they can close it out, if that's even a consideration. We could see OTA, really turn it around. Tendies has Flash this game. Unfortunately, Cairo doesn't. So we have traded a Flash for a Flash.
Yeah, I mean, on support Shaco, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Your Q is a lot faster. So if you're not using that aggressively, you can get out of a lot of sticky situations with your Q. So having the double combat summoners in the bot lane could give them a potential advantage, but we'll have to see what happens at this level 1 here. Last time we saw a 4-man stack for RTM, but I don't expect with this team comp that we're going to see the same thing there.
Yeah, 5-man stack from OTA Storm headed down to the Tribush. And they're actually going to press onward. So, Samso will have to be on point. We'll see if he can spot this out early. Stuart Littlemain hugging the wall, has his hook available. Flash! Hook! Going to be flashed away. So, successful trade of flashes if you are Stuart Littlemain, and they can look for some aggression onto Samso. I guess lucky that Cairo wasn't the one waiting there, because Cairo doesn't have flash to avoid the hook. He'd have to spec deceive potentially, although he's already got boxes placed, so he couldn't do that. That might have been rough for him.
Yeah, thankfully he wasn't there, but I really do like that Stuart Littlemain decided to just go ahead and flash in and force Samso's flash. I take a support flash for a ADC flash any day, so really good there. And Ojnov not hitting the E onto Anivia and is already chunked going into lane. Tendy's waiting for him here.
Yeah, Tendy's just going to walk at him level 1. Has Counter-Strike available. Hits the stun. A couple of autos going to be traded back. Tendy should win that one, but Zobi is here. Counter-Strike's not going to be up for a second. Flash traded here. Mid lane Hokage comes in. They just trade, and it's first blood for the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, he just barely gets the finish off. Mid lane Hokage was slow to rotate to that, and Tendy's and Ojnov leaving where they left off last game. Already trading kills here just 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty big. He can go back and buy the cloth armor, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. Well, Tendy's is going to hit level 2 somehow before him. This is just a very strange lane that's happening up in the top lane. Meanwhile, the box coverage from Cairo is pretty significant early on, but they have to give up the level 2 to the Lucian Thresh lane, which is kind of expected. Stun going to land from mid lane Hokage on Zobi. Is all of our lanes going to go ahead and trade early on.
Yeah, and it is kind of unfortunate that Tendy's wasn't the one that ended up getting that kill, because he teleports back to lane with already at an item disadvantage, and Anivia, who got the kill, wasn't even able to go back and base and use that extra gold. So OTA Storm with a little bit of advantage here in this early game.
Yep, and Hijab Warrior walks up, gets spotted by the pink ward that Tendy's was able to buy with his big assist gold. So that does pay dividends, make sure that he stays safe, doesn't get ganked at level 3, but now he's a little bit unsure about where Olaf might have gone. He is waiting for the Scuttle Crab spawn as Aikido Wanders down potentially for a jungler confrontation over this crab. Looks like they're just going to give that for the time being.
And both top laners without flash, junglers kind of hovering around this top side. Definitely a point that they can take advantage of, but looks like Olaf is going to get the scuttle, and then it's going to go down bot lane for the second one.
Yeah, Ochnef going to get stunned up. Tendy's continuing to trade out with him, but down a level now. Has to be a little bit careful. We'll get that healing back. The roam up from Stuart Littlemane, going to find Aiketo looking for the Scuttle Crab and force the flash out of him. That is actually really big on that roam from Stuart Littlemane. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Tendy's into the minion wave, continuing to trade. The jump strike is enough damage. He finds the solo kill on Ochnef.
Yeah, I think it's actually so big there that Tendy's walked into the wave to get his E off, to cancel all of the minions that were hitting him. Stunning them resets their aggro, so was able to wait out the Mordekaiser shield and get a kill for himself in this early game.
Yep. Zobi goes back to base, gonna find a Amp Tome and a Mana Crystal for himself, and then teleport back to mid lane. So, a lot of global summoner spells down now. Mid lane Hokage, the only teleport spell remaining. Cairo just hit level 3. I don't exactly understand what's been happening in this bottom lane, but Woman Are Evil and Stuart Littlemane out to a decent early lead, have the Cull on the Lucian as well. Tendy's is still here. He has not gone back to base, hits the counter-strike. He really needs to get out. Yeah, not quite going to get hit by a claw, and he'll be able to successfully navigate that.
Yeah, Tendy's definitely greeting to try to get that wave in. It looks like Ojanoff is not going to let him, and is going to freeze it on him, which is good for him, a very smart decision. Tendy's now going to go back to base, pick up some healing for himself with the Vamp Scepter, but is going to come back to a kind of frozen lane. We'll have to see if Aiketo is able to help him out, but a hook lands.
Yeah, hook onto Cairo. He does have the Deceive, luckily, to get out to safety. That's a decent trade, though, from Samso. Able to proc his passive, and they'll continue to push in. It is a small CS advantage for Woman Are Evil, which could translate really nicely. He's picking up all of these CS under tower, which is really good. So 11 CS early on, nothing to sneeze at, but more pressure being applied as Zobi and Hijab Warrior just hanging out around the bottom side. Tendy's gets pulled in, takes an extra tower shot. That's going to be the unfortunate part of that one for him. He's still looking to trade. The shield from Ojanaf, though, is more than enough. He hits the ultimate. He's got enough damage. What? All right, well.
Wow. Just a super close fight there, and Tendy's just showing that he knows his champion limits there, is able to just kind of dodge in and out, and when a fight that looked like it was going well for Ojanoff ends up turning on its head, is able to outlast the shield there and get himself another kill.
Yeah, good response from OTA, though. They're going to grab the Mountain Dragon on the bottom side. This is not what you want to see if you're Ojnaf. The bush being stacked, Aiketo and mid lane Hokage have roamed up, and Ojnaf is camped out in the bush. Currently, the flash over the wall, mid lane Hokage doesn't hit this. That's a play.
Yeah, I mean, that's a plan. They do blow his flash, get more pressure for Tendy's, and Tendy's just going to fight him in between the turrets here.
Yeah, level 7 to level 5, he can take these trades. But Ojnaf makes his way back to the minion wave, and he'll be able to collect some CS under tower. He's got the Seeker's Arm Guard, the most gold efficient item in the game.
Try to dive here. Tendy's holding the wave, but Ojanoff very smartly decides not to stay under tower and wait for his teammates to show up.
Yeah,
decides to clear the wave.
Tendy's has to be careful. There's the roam up right now from Zobi and Stuart Littlemane. They might spot him here in the tri-bush. This could be a little issue for him, as jumps over the wall, immediately finds a Syndra there. Not exactly who he wanted to see. Death sentence comes through, and it's a shutdown for Zobi.
Yeah, Tendy's just greeting a little bit too much there, is able to not do anything as he gets killed. The shutdown goes over, and a really smart roam there from Stuart Littlemane. We saw him do that last game too, able to roam up and kind of sneak a kill onto Tendy's when he wasn't expecting it, and well played by him.
These boxes look really annoying, but we haven't really seen that big moment from Cairo happen. But now he's going Bandle Glass Mirror. Oh no, a Moonstone Gamer in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I guess we could potentially see the mandate come out as well.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
have to
that
see what
actually
he
makes more
elects to
sense.
go for.
That makes way more sense than the. I
I mean,
forgot
it's
that that has
possible
it.
he goes for newer because you can do it on Shaco as well. I expect it to be mandate, but we'll have to see.
You can tell.
Kato now level 6. We'll have to see what he decides to do for his first ultimate of the game. I expected to go towards top lane. Already showing RTM showing a lot of pressure there.
Ooh, flash away from Zobi, but here's Stuart Littlemain looking for a gank, but they'll call in the man drop. Stun onto Zobi. He's stuck inside the Glacial Storm. Is the damage there? It is for Kato as he flashes forward for the E, but eats the entire Syndra combo in the process. Ojnaf teleports back in, looking for mid lane Hokage. Can't quite track him down under tower. It's gonna be an annoying little chunk taken back, but the 1-for-1 trade mid laner for jungler, really doesn't benefit either team. Gonna be honest.
Well, it does benefit RTM now because Tendies is hitting that top lane turret with the TP from the Mordekaiser. He's gonna probably pick up at least one plate.
Yeah, more gold in the pocket of the Jax. Stuart Littlemain trying to go for the prediction.
Prediction?
Don't know why that. I just blanked on that word. It's getting late, I guess. But yeah, Tendies and Ojnaf continuing to exchange pleasantries. Looks like Tendies headed for a Blade of the Ruin King first. I don't have a good tab on Jax builds. Just kind of interesting.
Yeah, my guess is it's probably just more for the sustain in the lane.
Ooh, Samso in trouble, gonna get flayed back in. Cairo, really not a huge amount of help right now, but here comes Kato looking for the counter gank. The box, really annoying to slow up, but they're not going to find that counter engage they were maybe looking for. Tendies hits a stun onto Ojnaf. That's a huge chunk of damage. Cairo. Oh wait, that flash hook that was onto Samso. I thought he was aiming for Cairo. They'll take him down. Trade 1-for-1, but what a hook by Stuart Littlemain.
Yeah, that was actually flashes in, and it kind of made a feint as if he was going for Kyra gens on the Shaco, but it's able to flash in, find the hook, and trade 1-for-1 there. Very nice for OTA Storm.
Yeah, Tendies, meanwhile, pushing in, looking for the dive, gets taken into the Sex Dungeon. Ojnaf scrapping out with him. He actually just has enough damage. He takes the solo kill and gets the little heal from the Triumph. So Ojnaf with the win in the Sex Dungeon.
Yeah, we see how strong that Mordekaiser ultimate is. Able to just steal some stats away and make it a lot harder for Tendies to kill. And I think Tendies actually autoed the tower accidentally right before he flashed. Maybe, I mean, it would have been in a trade anyway, but Ojnaf just living with a little bit of HP there as Dragon spawns on the bot side.
Yeah, Dragon spawns, no one immediately there, but now ping's coming out from OTA Storm. I think our team is just assuming that it's dead and not contestable, but actually OTA just a little bit late to the rotation there, and it could be potentially contested. Kato will have Mandrop available in now. They don't want it. I don't blame them for not wanting it. I am hyping up this fight that is not going to happen. Mid lane Hokage feels safe walking forward. He might try to look for a pick on the Syndra, but I don't think that he wants to stick around for too long.
Yeah, and that is going to be the second Dragon of the game over to OTA Storm. 12 minutes in, already 2 Dragons. This is very good for them. Super even game. But they're going to have to force RTM to fight them very soon.
Yeah, Cairo uses the Shaco clone. Oh, they've actually found the main body, and Stuart Littlemain finds the kill with the auto attack. Kato looking for the dive in top lane, and Tendies will finish that one off. So a successful dive is Cairo's clone just kind of hanging out. That's 25 extra gold. Thank you very much. But first turn of the game goes down for RTM in the top lane, and Tendies potentially unlocked picks up. I think that was a shut. No, it wasn't a shutdown. That wouldn't make any sense. I thought it said shutdown for some reason, but.
Yeah, OTA Storm really showing that they wanted to put a lot of priority on this bot lane. We haven't really seen the Shaco pick do much for the bot lane, and they're going to drop Rift Herald to get more gold onto this Lucian, already up 30 farm.
Yeah, Shelly here. There's pings on a ward back behind everybody. I don't know if ROTM is really looking for this. Samso and mid lane Hokage stepping up. They have Pantheon being called in. In comes the Grand Starfall and Tendi's teleport. They're looking for Women Are Evil. They find him. They find the Thresh as well. 2 kills for RTM and a good collapse in the bottom lane.
Yeah, this was super smart by RTM. Needed to kind of stem the bleeding that was happening in bot lane. And Tendi's finds a really nice TP and times it with the Pantheon ult. Is able to just pick up some kills and shut down what was kind of a snowballing lane for OTA Storm.
Yeah, now Tendi's and Samso going to split a couple of turret plates for themselves 15 seconds before the plating drops off, and they'll grab another one. I don't think they'll get... they can maybe pressure through, but with Hijab Warrior hanging out in the area, I don't know that they'll want to continue. And there's turret plating off, and everything will just continue.
The Shaco trap saving. OJF is getting some damage onto this top lane turret, but without the plates there, it's definitely not as valuable as a proposition as it was a couple minutes ago. RTM trying to get as much as they can, and Aikado's going to come up and trade with him.
Yeah, Aikado pretty strong, has the Eclipse available as well as his Red Smite, which, if you don't know, the Pantheon combo is just Red Smite and then you hit W and click on somebody and you burn them 4 times with your Red Smite. It's really disgusting. Plus you proc PTA. Yeah, anyway, Kairo's here for a counter gank in mid lane, but it might be too late. Mid lane Hokage thrown into the egg. The Shat clone is going to take the kill as mid lane Hokage revives underneath tower. They'll get the trade back with the Syndra ultimate, the unleashed power. Ajnaf takes mid lane Hokage into the death realm, looking for that final bit of damage. Are the dots fighting? It looks like it's just going to go the way of mid lane Hokage, and he sidesteps the axe on the way out.
Yeah, all said. Oh no.
Aikado in trouble now. He's going to jump onto Women Are Evil. The tower shot is enough to at least trade that one back, but it's a shutdown for Hijab Warrior, and OTA Storm gets to continue the pressure. Now the teleport to continue the mid lane fight coming in from mid lane Hokage. He'll at least be able to stop the push, but Stuart Littlemain and Samso both hanging out around the area. I don't think we're going to see another scrap in mid for at least a little bit, though.
Yeah, just trade after trade after trade in mid lane. Both teams just trying to get the better of each other, but Tendi's 2 fighting 2v1 here in the bot lane.
Yeah, no Death Realm available for Ajnaf. Tendi's just looking to take down Stuart Littlemain, and he will successfully do that. Now has to try to get out Jump Strike available. Where's the Claw from Ajnaf? Does he have it? Does he have the move speed? Wait, Tendi's went back in. He's got his ult up. Jumps in, Jump Strike. Oh my gosh, Cairo is there to save him potentially. They take down Ojanaf in the bottom lane. Hijab Warriors separated, the Void Seekers are enough, but mid lane Hokage dies to the turret in mid. These trades are nonsense and all over the place, but they're very slightly benefiting ROTM. Cairo looking for Zobi, hits the 2-shiv poison for the little bit of slow. The burn, Tendi's jumps in, he's got no health, why is he jumping in? He's back out.
Tendi's just loves to play with fire, and we see the greater points.
Oh, here comes the Grand Starfall. Aikado gonna continue the nonsense that's happening. Jumps forward, hits the Comet Spear. The E, not quite enough damage as he gets taken down underneath turret. The overextension from Aikado. Cairo gets stunned out. This is just a solo queue game that's happening.
Yeah, fights everywhere. We're gonna have to see if they're able to chase people down, but Kyrogen's throwing down these traps to try to get them out.
Oh, but here comes Lucian
down here.
They have the sweeper available. He walks right into the trap to try to prevent his Lucian from getting there. Mid lane Hokage in the area. I don't think we should see a fight. There really shouldn't be one, but Dragon is up, and that's actually an objective that exists. Mid lane Hokage is in trouble. He's got to get out of here. Able to get away from Ojanaf, but gets pulled into the Death Realm. Now trying to kite back out, but does he have help on the way? It doesn't look like it. The hook over the wall, that's a really good hook. That's 2 kills for OTA Storm, and they'll grab their 3rd Dragon of the game as a result of this.
Yeah, and this is going to put them on soul points, so it's actually really big. RTM just overextending, spending too much time in the area when they really had no business being there. And now it's just a really close game, only 2k golden disadvantage. But
why is Tendi's looking for the fight? Zobi goes into the stopwatch, and he'll be culled down, able to dash over the wall, but Hijab Warrior follows him over, shut down for Zobi as he gets the kill with the stun, and this... Now those trades are not going ROTM's way. They're trying to clear the minion wave, but there's just not enough health on the turret. That'll go down. They'll grab the second Herald as... Well, they were... What is happening in the pit? Oh, I always forget. I looked over at the timers, and the Herald timer is different from the Baron timer for some reason. That's my mistake. Anyway, he's doing the second Herald, is the long story short. Doesn't actually grab the lantern. Yeah. This is a really weird little situation. Kairo's over the wall, looking for the slow. Has Hijab Warrior taken down the stun? He's finally popped Ragnarok. In comes Samso. They'll get the shutdown onto the Olaf. Samso takes a huge chunk though from Zobi over the wall. Tendy's still looking for it. Hits a stun, but only onto the Thresh. They'll get the kill. That was only the Shaco clone that died, and Tendy's able to get out alive on the other end.
Yeah, and a really good TP there from Tendy's, able to find another kill on the back side of it. And ROTM is going to be able to pick up this Rift Herald for themselves, which is the first objective of the game they've been able to get to. But Ojanov just sitting in the side lane, farming up, getting back into this game. And yeah, I think it's been kind of the story of the game so far has been OTA Storm taking dragon after dragon and kind of just punishing ROTM's over-aggression.
Yeah, ROTM really playing sloppy here in game number 3. But we'll see if they can, turn around that play. 2,000 gold lead, but your margin for error is very small. It's a Cloud Soul on the table in 3 minutes, which admittedly, if you're giving up the soul, that's probably the one that you want to give up, right?
Yeah. Thankful that ROTM is not, or they're very thankful that it's not a better dragon, but still not a great one. They do have good ultimates that can take advantage of that, but I am kind of surprised that Tendy's has decided to not go for a QSS, considering he's going to be against this Mordekaiser in the side lane. Yeah, just a really good item so that you don't get pulled into the ultimate, and here we go.
Yeah, already into the Death Realm. He's got the Counter-Strike available, but the damage is just enough from the passive. Cairo is here, but he doesn't have the damage. But Aikido might? No, this is not a good look. Double kill for Ojnaf as the Mordekaiser well and fully back into the game.
Again, we're just seeing RTM's over-aggression just punished by OTA Storm just kind of remaining patient and not panicking. Ojnaf picking up 2 kills for himself there. And I think RTM's just trying to do a little too much.
Yeah, X-Craze may be looking for X-Craze. Mid lane Hokage may be looking for a bush bait. Zobi just gonna take the blue buff away. This is awkward.
I'll just see if they pick it up. Oh, he's sprinting. Oh man. Well, Syndra is gonna get it, but not after it resets. That was pretty funny to see it sprint back to its hole.
Yeah, Samso takes red buff for himself without it resetting. Attempt number 2 on the blue buff now for OTA Storm. I was worried Hijab Warrior was just gonna walk in and E that, just take it away from him, but not the case this time. Dragon up in a minute, and RTM actually has set up something resembling vision control around it, and are maybe setting up for an objective.
Yeah, first time we've seen them be able to do that. And I think this is where Shaco can kind of really shine, is if you get to an area first, you can trap it a lot. You get some free vision more than just the wards you already had.
Ooh, Aikido gets pulled in by the, well, I guess he jumped in off of the claw. And teleport already being channeled for Zobi. We're ready to scrap over this dragon. 28 seconds before it spawns. That's a huge chunk onto Zobi. He flashes over the wall, hits the stopwatch on the other side. So, at least staying safe. Stuart Littlemain gets a huge chunk as well. The Anivia doing the lion's share of the work, and Tendy's going to take advantage of that. He dives forward. He hits only one with the stun. Kairo's clone eats it on the other side, but 2 picks, or one, that's 2 picks, excuse me, for ROTM, and they'll take their first dragon of the game on the other side, barring a steal maybe from Hijab Warrior.
Yeah, and just finding the fight exactly when they needed it. Mid lane Hokage just doing the brunt of that work.
Oh no, Ikeda was trying to ward over the wall and
Oh no.
just threw the Rift Herald over.
Well, it's gonna hit bot at least. They'll get some use out of it.
Yeah, now ulting into the Baron pit. They're starting this one up. Thresh and Syndra just a little late. Well, you know, forced to be late to the party. Sheila, meanwhile, has already taken down one turret and is wailing away on a second. So getting some good work out of that Rift Herald despite that. Oh, the wall, though! Hijab Warrior nowhere near the pit, and it's taken down. Herald, Baron is slain. Can everybody get out of the pit? Everybody just flashes over the wall. Tendy's able to jump strike, but everybody else forced to use flash. Walled off. Can they actually get out? Mid lane Hokage, the only one kind of trapped in here. That's Kairo's clone. We're not worried about that one in particular.
Wow, ROTM expending 4 flashes there to get the Baron. Really, really gutsy call there. I don't know if I would have gone for it personally, but ends up working out for them. Now just off of their first objective pickup of the game, they get the Baron as well, and they'll see with their 5k gold lead if they're able to kind of blow this game open.
Yeah, so far a lot closer than I think ROTM fans would want, given the general rank disparity and what we saw in game number 1. But you know, 4,000 gold is fine. They're gonna lose this tower potentially, although it actually ran out of minions. That's unlucky, but mid lane Hokage has teleport available. So we'll see where ROTM wants to go. Right now, not setting up for anything in particular. It's kind of a lazy 1-3-1 setup, but I don't know that you really want a 1-3-1 with an Anivia.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to get the top lane pushing. They've got bot lane pushing as well. They'll probably, now that they've got those waves pushed out, they'll probably convene here in mid lane. Might see like a 4-1 situation or something like that. But again, OTA Storm does have the better team fight comp, so you do have to be careful.
Samso might be caught here, getting hit by the undertows. He's got nowhere to go, able to dash out with the killer instinct. Cairo takes a couple of shots from the culling, burning just not quite enough damage. So Samso lives. Now Ojnaf in a little bit of trouble, able to use the stopwatch on the bottom side of the fight. We're panning back and forth between mid and bot, and slightly not mid. Zobi is zoned off, gonna take an icicle spear for his trouble, but not too much more than that. Still burning. Comet spears, icicles, just a whole bunch of stuff flying in as the siege continues from ROTM. They have the buffed up cannon minion wailing away on the tower, but now OTA Storm can walk up and take it down.
Yeah, this is pretty difficult because Samso got almost his entire health bar nuked there at the beginning. They're not really able to push very well. Tendy's doing his best to wail away on this bot lane turret after poking out Ojnaf, but really not a lot of use out of this Baron. At least you'd like to see a lot more if you're an ROTM fan.
Yeah, mid lane Hokage even picking up a blue buff during this. Stuart Littlemane just tanking up the cannon minion, not allowing it to aggro on the turret. All of these turrets are so low, but they just can't poke through. Now Cairo potentially staking his claim, maybe trying to chase off Woman or Evil. And yeah, they'll finally get this mid lane tower with the investment of the Pantheon ultimate. Tendy's gets pulled into the Death Realm. He takes down the turret, still wailing away on Ojnaf. Claw does its job. Tendy's might be able to disengage, but here comes the squad from ROTM. They'll trade 1 for 1, but they find Olaf as well. 2 for 1 as they continue to push in. They grab the inhibitor turret. Stun lands, a good hook onto mid lane Hokage, but he's able to stopwatch it away. Aikido jumps onto Zobi. They'll finish him off with the Void Seeker. Hook lands, but it's just the egg from X-Craze. Cairo is really low, but they're not quite able to finish him off. Killer instinct over the wall, but the counter flash from Stuart Littlemane keeps him safe. The minion wave still crashing in. They're onto the Nexus turrets currently. I don't know why we're just watching Thresh awkwardly walk back. The action is not happening anywhere. Everybody disengages from ROTM. But they got their job done. They got the inhibitor down in bottom lane. They have 40 seconds left on this dragon spawn, so really good timing on this back to get some of these resource bars back, and then they'll be able to go and at least contest this dragon.
Yeah, that's really big for ROTM to get that bottom inhibitor to just kind of get. I don't know why I said it like that. It was so weird. Inhibitor. I guess it's just the end of the day cast for me. But they get now super minions pushing that bot lane. OTA Storm isn't going to be able to as easily contest this dragon because they'll have to think about those minions in the bot lane. and we'll have to see if OTA just gives this one up, which is with Olaf top lane. It looks like that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, kind of strange no contest. You would think at least you would push in, maybe look for an axe. Tendies gets pulled into the death realm, has the QSS available, still looking for this, but Ragnarok available for Olaf, the jump strike to the blast plant, and
Oh.
unfortunately when you have Ragnarok you can't take a blast cone, so he jump warrior left on the other side.
I don't know if that was intentional from Tendies, but definitely very funny. Not being able to follow him over.
Oh, the hook onto
Oh,
Cairo.
nice
They're
hook.
gonna be able to find the Shaco at the end of that one. Woman or Evil takes that kill. Meanwhile, Aikedo into the top lane accidentally stuns a minion. They should still have enough damage to finish off Ojanaf, and they do. So the counter pick and the 4-man squad from ROTM group up toward the top lane.
Yeah, Tendies looks like he's going to base here way under half health. Probably TP back to help this push out. Oh,
Job warrior
not.
going in, but he's got no Ragnarok currently. Going to get pulled out on the Dark Passage, but Aikedo finds him with the Comet Spear. Tendies is teleported in. He's looking for Zobi. He gets the stun, which will allow Samso to fly in with the Killer Instinct, and it's all coming undone for OTA Storm as they push into the inner turret and top lane.
Yeah, they've got minions pushing in the bot lane. We're actually going to see mid lane Hokage TP down there as they chase down this Lucian.
Yeah, they've cornered Lucian back away from the minion wave, but that's not the big prize. It's going to be the Nexus Towers. Culling coming through mid lane. Hokage just trying to get behind some minions for a little bit of safety. Ojanaf is in, looking for anything that he can do to stall the game out further, but it's just not going to happen for them. The Nexus falls, and ROTM takes a 2-1 victory here in Week 1.
Yeah, very close last game there, especially considering it got tied up by the emergency sub being used by RTM. And after that early game, I was a little bit worried, but able to close it out in the end, find some clutch fights when they needed to. And RTM gets the series win and their first win in UML.
Yeah, so 1-0 on the season, maybe not the way that they'd hoped, but finishing it off strong. That's going to do it here for the cast. I need to go to bed. I think you do as well after your inhibitor. But thank you guys for joining us here on the Middlesticks GG stream. We're going to have all of the UML games for the season here live. We've also got our Legends teams during the week. So if you don't already follow the channel, please do. We've got more action over and over. And really, thanks for the coming out tonight. Really good to see Ojnav's fans in the chat, even if the game didn't go super his way, but it was really cool to see you guys bantering it in the chat. So thank you all, and we'll hopefully see you all next time.